Hello there and welcome to the Cosmic Pillow. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe you've had a long day, or maybe you're someone who drifts off easier when your mind has something vast to wander through. Either way, tonight's journey is for you. A slow drift through our home in the cosmos, the Milky Way Galaxy. So take a deep breath, let the world around you fade, and let your thoughts stretch outward, past the air, past the clouds, past the edge of sight itself. Because tonight, you're not just lying in bed, you're orbiting among the stars. And before we begin, if you find peace in these long, quiet explorations, if the sound of cosmic wonder helps you rest or makes the universe feel a little smaller and friendlier, consider liking and subscribing to The Cosmic Pillow. It helps others find this calm corner of the galaxy, one sleepy soul at a time. Now, let's begin our journey. Our story starts at home. Not Earth, but the larger home that holds us all, the Milky Way. From where we sit, deep inside one of its quiet spiral arms, we can only see a small slice of it, a pale river of starlight stretched across the night sky, shimmering like mist. But if you could step back far enough, you'd see it for what it truly is. A grand, spiraling island of hundreds of billions of stars turning slowly in the dark. It's vast beyond reason, 100,000 light-years wide. Each light-year, remember, is nearly 10 trillion kilometers, a distance so immense that even light, traveling at 300,000 kilometers per second, would take a human lifetime just to cross a tiny corner of it. The Milky Way has been spinning like this for more than 13 billion years. And though we call it our galaxy, it is not ours alone. Stars older than the sun drift quietly above and below the galactic plane. Clouds of dust move like breath through its arms, and somewhere in that river of light, a small yellow star holds a single blue planet where someone is lying awake, listening, and imagining what it all means. The Milky Way is alive with motion. Our sun, along with every planet, moon, comet, and grain of dust around it, is racing around the galactic center at over 828,000 kilometers per hour. That's 230 kilometers every second. And still, it takes roughly 225 million years to make a single orbit. One galactic year. In Earth time, we've only gone around the galaxy about 20 times since the solar system formed. When dinosaurs first appeared, our world was in a completely different part of the Milky Way. The sky above them was lit by other neighbors, other constellations now long gone. Everything moves, everything changes, even as we sleep. But what is it really? This galaxy we live in? To answer that, we have to move slowly, piece by piece, through its layers. At its heart lies something invisible, the silent gravitational anchor called Sagittarius A star, a supermassive black hole more than 4 million times the mass of the Sun. It's smaller than the orbit of Mercury, yet it holds the center together. Stars whip around it at tremendous speeds, following invisible paths carved by its gravity. Sometimes, clouds of gas spiral inward, glowing as they fall, releasing bursts of X-rays before they vanish past the event horizon. Most of the time, it sleeps, a dark, quiet heart surrounded by restless light. But long ago, it may have burned brightly as a quasar, a beacon so powerful it could have been seen from across the universe. Now it dreams beneath the dust, holding the galaxy in a patient orbit. If we drift outward from the center, we find the bulge, a dense sphere of older stars swelling like a golden glow. But this bulge isn't perfectly round. When seen from afar, it looks like a soft peanut, shaped by time, by motion, by the rhythm of a billion orbits. Inside that bulge, stars are old, some nearly as ancient as the galaxy itself. They burn slowly, faintly, carrying the chemistry of the early universe. Beyond that, we meet the bar, a long, rotating bridge of light stretching across the center. This bar acts like a conveyor of stars and gas, channeling material inward, feeding the core. It turns slowly, its motion shaping the spiral arms that sweep outward from its ends, arms that form the Milky Way's most recognizable pattern. And yet, even these arms are illusions of sorts. They aren't solid structures like spokes on a wheel. They're more like waves in a crowd, regions where stars gather briefly before drifting onward. The stars that make up a spiral arm are constantly changing, born, aging, dying, replaced by new generations of light. The arm is a pattern, not a thing, a rhythm, not a line. The Milky Way is not a sculpture, it's a dance. Look closer and you'll find giant molecular clouds, cold, dark regions made of hydrogen and dust, hundreds of light years wide. Within these clouds, new stars are born. Gravity pulls the gas together until it collapses inward, ignites, and begins to shine. These are the galaxy's nurseries, stellar cradles hidden behind curtains of shadow. From them come stars, planets, and everything that will ever live or die around them. Even our own sun was born in one of these nurseries, billions of years ago. It likely shared its cradle with thousands of sibling stars, a bright, close-knit family scattered now across the spiral arms. Somewhere out there, those siblings still burn, each carrying a trace of the same cosmic dust that once surrounded us. But the Milky Way is not a peaceful place. It's a realm of collisions and transformations. Over time, it has consumed smaller galaxies, pulling them apart, scattering their stars, absorbing their light. The remnants of those ancient victims still streak across the sky as stellar streams, faint ribbons of stars tracing ghostly arcs around us. Some are the remains of dwarf galaxies that wandered too close. Others are the last threads of long-forgotten companions. Right now, one such collision is still underway. The Sagittarius dwarf galaxy is being torn apart as we speak, its stars stretched into long trails that wrap around the Milky Way like silk threads. Our galaxy is feeding. It grows not through birth alone, but through quiet hunger, and it will happen again. In about 4.5 billion years, the Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large neighbor, will drift close enough to collide with us. The two great spirals will pass through each other, twist, merge, and eventually form a new, larger galaxy. It will not be violent in the way we imagine. The stars are too far apart for direct impact. Instead, it will be a slow, elegant dance, a folding together of forms, the reshaping of two giants into one. Perhaps by then the sun will already be gone, or perhaps its light will be among those that survive, carried into a new sky. The Milky Way story is not only about stars, it's also about darkness. Most of what makes up our galaxy is something we can't see or touch. Dark matter. It neither emits nor reflects light, but its gravity shapes everything. It's what holds the outer stars in place, what keeps the galaxy spinning as one. Without it, the Milky Way would fly apart. And yet, we don't know what it is. It's the galaxy's secret skeleton, invisible but essential, a cosmic mystery we live inside every day. Beyond the disk, there's the halo, a vast sphere of old stars, globular clusters, and dark matter surrounding the Milky Way, like a faint, ancient crown. Most of its stars are metal poor, meaning they formed before the universe had time to create many of the heavier elements. They're relics from a time before the Milky Way had spiral arms, before order, before beauty. When you look up into a dark sky and see the soft glow of starlight, you're seeing the thin plane of the galaxy. But above and below that glow lies the halo, quiet, dim, and immense. If you could drift outside the galaxy and look back, you'd see something breathtaking. a glowing pinwheel suspended in darkness. A disk of silver blue light with faint tendrils curling outward, surrounded by a delicate halo of gold. It would look serene, even still. But beneath that calm, everything would be in motion. Stars spinning, gas clouds colliding, dust drifting like smoke across the spiral arms. That's the Milky Way's greatest illusion. It feels eternal, but it isn't. It's changing every second. Stars are born, live, and die. Clouds collide, merge, and fade. Even the shape of the galaxy slowly transforms over billions of years. If you could see it sped up, if you could watch its life like a film, it would look like a vast, glowing organism, breathing, pulsing, folding, and unfolding in slow, silent rhythm. And as you rest tonight, somewhere within that spiral, the galaxy continues its work. Stars are being born in distant arms. Supernovae are scattering elements into the dark. Planets are forming around new suns. The quiet chemistry of life is beginning again, somewhere unseen. You are part of that story, not separate from it, but made of it. The calcium in your bones was forged in ancient stars. The oxygen you breathe was shaped in supernovae. The atoms in your body were once part of the very galaxy you gaze at. You are not looking at the Milky Way. You are the Milky Way, thinking about itself. Now let's drift a little deeper. Imagine yourself leaving the gentle brightness of the spiral arms and moving toward the quiet outskirts of the galaxy. Out here, the stars thin out. They hang like lonely lanterns above a dark plain, their light softened by distance and dust. The galactic disk fades into faint haze, and the halo begins. This is the ancient borderland of the Milky Way, a realm of stillness and memory. These halo stars are survivors. They formed before the spiral arms existed, before the bar or the bulge took shape. Many of them were born in small galaxies that merged with ours billions of years ago. Their chemistry tells that story, iron and calcium almost absent, hydrogen and helium dominating, a signature of the early universe. They drift on long, tilted orbits, moving slowly above the disk, watching the galaxy's younger generations spin below them. Farther out still are globular clusters, perfect spheres of hundreds of thousands of stars. Each cluster is a fossil, a remnant from the time when the Milky Way was still gathering itself together. Some of these clusters are more than 12 billion years old, older than the spiral arms, older than the sun, older than most of what we see. They circle the galaxy like quiet monks, orbiting in patient paths that take hundreds of millions of years to complete. If you could stand inside one, the night sky would never be dark. Every direction would be filled with stars, close, bright, endless. Back toward the disk, things are livelier. Here, great clouds of gas and dust drift through space, stirred by supernovae and magnetic fields. These clouds look black to our eyes, hiding the stars behind them, but to infrared telescopes they glow with a gentle warmth. Within them, new suns are forming, small points of light igniting inside cold cocoons. Each will one day light its own system of planets, moons, and comets. Some of these newborn stars will live for billions of years. Others, the massive ones, will burn through their fuel in just a few million. They'll swell into red supergiants, then explode as supernovae, casting their elements into the interstellar sea. The blast will compress nearby clouds, triggering the next generation of stars. In this way, the Milky Way renews itself, endlessly weaving life from death. Between the stars, the galaxy breathes. Gas rises from the disk into the halo, cools, and rains back down again, a galactic fountain that keeps the cycle turning. Even now, high above the plain, Enormous bubbles of hot gas billow outward from past supernovae. They look like glowing chimneys, venting the heat of creation into the cold. Sometimes the galaxy's balance is disturbed. A passing dwarf galaxy tugs on the outer arms, bending them upward. Waves ripple through the disk, like the motion of a stone dropped into water. From our perspective on Earth, we see this as the Milky Way's warp, a gentle curve in what might otherwise seem flat. It reminds us that even on cosmic scales, nothing is perfectly still. And then there are the rogue stars, wanderers flung from the galaxy altogether. When a binary system strays too close to the central black hole, one star can be captured while the other is hurled outward at unimaginable speed. These hypervelocity stars travel millions of kilometers per hour, fast enough to escape the Milky Way's pull entirely. They drift alone between galaxies, carrying the memory of their birthplace like a spark in the void. Our own solar system, by contrast, lives in calm waters. We orbit within a small spur called the Orion Arm, tucked between two major arms, the Sagittarius and Perseus. It's an unremarkable neighborhood, quiet, stable, and for life, perfect. Too close to the center, radiation and supernovae would make planets hostile. Too far out, and there wouldn't be enough heavy elements to build them. Earth sits in a kind of galactic Goldilocks zone, balanced between chaos and emptiness. The Milky Way is part of a family. It belongs to a cluster known as the Local Group, more than 50 galaxies bound together by gravity. The Andromeda Galaxy is the largest member, bright and spiraled like our own. There's the Triangulum Galaxy too, smaller and delicate, and a host of tiny dwarfs circling them all. Over time, this family is slowly tightening. Gravity draws them closer. One day, far in the future, they'll merge into a single vast structure, a quiet city of starlight adrift in the dark. Inside the Milky Way, billions of worlds turn unseen. Every star with planets adds to a hidden ocean of possibilities. Astronomers now believe there may be more planets than stars in the galaxy. Some are hot giants orbiting close to their suns. Others are small rocky spheres with frozen seas and thin air. And some, billions of them, float free, unanchored rogue planets wandering alone. Cold, dark, but real. It's hard not to imagine that somewhere on one of those countless worlds, something else might be wondering about us. Yet the galaxy itself wonders nothing. It simply is. It turns because gravity makes it turn. It shines because fusion makes it shine. But within its quiet mechanics, there's a kind of beauty that feels almost intentional. Patterns emerging from physics, harmony from motion. Spiral arms tracing perfect curves, star clusters shaped like snowflakes. A bar that rotates just slowly enough to feed its own heart. It's not alive, and yet it behaves as though it remembers how to grow. When you look up on a clear night and see the Milky Way arcing overhead, remember, you're seeing from the inside. We can never truly see our galaxy from outside. No human, no probe has ever traveled far enough. What we picture, the graceful spiral, the glowing bar, the delicate arms, is a reconstruction built from fragments of light, radio signals, and motion. We are like ants trying to map a forest from the ground. Still, piece by piece, we've built a picture beautiful enough to dream by. Far from the spiral arms where stars grow scarce, the Milky Way fades into the dark matter halo. Here, gravity still rules, but light begins to fail. It's a place of ghosts, the remnants of ancient galaxies, shredded streams of stars, and invisible matter holding it all together. If you could float there and look back, you'd see the galaxy shining like a coin of light, thin, bright, and alive. Back toward the center, everything quickens. Stars whip around the black hole at tremendous speeds. gas falls inward, glowing in radio and X-rays. Every few centuries, something gets too close and flares, an echo of the galaxy's restless core. Astronomers have found vast gamma-ray bubbles above and below the disk, each tens of thousands of light-years tall. They are relics of that ancient activity, faint scars on the Milky Way's invisible face. The Milky Way is middle-aged now, neither young nor dying. Its days of furious star formation are behind it, but it still gives birth to thousands of new suns each year. It is settled into a gentle rhythm, a mature spiral slowly evolving. Billions of years from now, it will look different, perhaps rounder, perhaps dimmer, but for now it turns on quietly, cradling worlds like ours in its arms. And somewhere within those arms, you are breathing. A fragment of dust turned to thought, carried by the same forces that move galaxies. Every heartbeat, every breath, is part of that motion. The slow orbit of the sun, the spin of the Earth, the swirl of the Milky Way itself. You are already traveling, even as you lie still. So close your eyes. Imagine the stars wheeling slowly above you, a spiral of light stretching forever. Feel the faint pull of gravity, the calm of distance, the comfort of belonging to something vast. The galaxy keeps turning, the stars keep burning, and you, for now, can rest within it. The Milky Way's story is not finished. Far from it. Every second, deep inside its arms, the next chapter is being written in light. And every second, somewhere, another star reaches its end. A quiet balance of birth and decay that has lasted for billions of years. If we could speed up time, the galaxy would look alive. You'd see the spiral arms shimmer as new blue stars flare into existence, then fade to red, then collapse. You'd see clouds of gas drift, merge, and ignite. You'd watch the central bar slowly twist as if the whole galaxy were breathing. The youngest stars, hot and white, burn fast and die spectacularly. They leave behind neutron stars, dense spheres no wider than a city yet heavier than the sun. Or, if they're massive enough, black holes that swallow even light. Around them, space bends like water under weight. Meanwhile, the smaller stars, the quiet yellow ones like our sun, burn slowly for billions of years. They live long, predictable lives, spreading warmth to their planets. Eventually, they swell into red giants, shedding outer layers like old skin. The remaining core contracts into a white dwarf, glowing faintly for trillions of years before fading to darkness. That is the distant destiny of most of the stars in the Milky Way, a slow cooling, a retreat into silence. But before that hush arrives, there will be music, a dance that's already begun. Far away, across 2.5 million light-years, the Andromeda Galaxy approaches. It is larger than ours, brighter, more massive, and it's coming toward us at more than 400 kilometers per second. To us, it seems motionless, but every night it draws imperceptibly closer. In about 4 billion years, the two spirals will begin to touch. Their halos will mingle first, streams of dark matter brushing together like veils. Then the outer arms will pass through one another. The skies of every world will change. Constellations will twist into new patterns as foreign suns streak across the heavens. There will be no crash, no sound. The distances between stars are too great. Instead, the galaxies will flow through each other like ghostly oceans. Gravity will sculpt vast arcs of stars, tidal tails sweeping thousands of light years long. Some stars will be thrown out entirely, set adrift between galaxies, while others will fall toward the merging cores. For a time, the Milky Way and Andromeda will look distorted, tangled, like two whirlpools becoming one. Then, after another few billion years, the chaos will settle. The two will fuse into a new shape, a giant, elliptical galaxy glowing softly in the dark. Astronomers call it Milkdromeda, though by then there may be no one left to name it. By that time, the sun will be near the end of its life. It will swell into a red giant, its outer layers reaching toward Earth. The oceans will boil, the surface will glow, and then, quietly, the sun will release its final breath. Its outer layers will drift away as a delicate planetary nebula, and its core will cool into a white dwarf no larger than Earth itself. Earth will be gone, but the galaxy will continue. Billions of other stars will still shine, and around many of them new planets will orbit, some warm, some frozen, some carrying oceans and clouds. Life, if it still exists anywhere, will have moved on, evolving in forms we cannot imagine, lit by suns we'll never see. After the merger, the new galaxy will continue to age. Its gas will thin, its star-forming clouds will dwindle. The brilliant blue lights of youth will fade, leaving behind long-lived red dwarfs and cold remnants. Slowly, the galaxy will dim, turning from a bright spiral to a quiet amber ellipse. And even then, the story won't end. The stars will keep orbiting and black holes will keep feeding. The night will grow colder, but there will still be light. Far in the future, hundreds of billions of years from now, the last new stars will be born. They will burn faintly for trillions of years more, each a tiny candle in the dark. When the last of them finally goes out, the Milky Way's descendants will enter a time called the Degenerate Era, a universe of remnants, white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes drifting through darkness. Gravity will continue its patient work. Over unimaginable timescales, black holes will merge, grow, and evaporate through Hawking radiation. The galaxy will dissolve into a handful of fading embers. Yet even in that far-off age, the atoms that once made up suns and planets will remain. Nothing is truly lost. Matter simply changes form. If all this sounds melancholy, think again. It means that the Milky Way is a masterpiece in progress, a story so vast that it includes every beginning and every ending within it. A galaxy that carries its own history in every particle, every orbit, every beam of light. And through it all, something remarkable persists: curiosity. On a small planet circling an average star, a few fragile minds dared to ask what this luminous band across the sky might be. They built telescopes, mapped motions, counted stars, and learned that the light above them was home itself. Every discovery we make about the Milky Way is a mirror turned inward. We learn not just what's out there, but what we are made of. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe. Each element was born in an ancient star that once blazed somewhere in this same galaxy. The Milky Way is not just where we live, it is what we are. So when you feel small beneath the stars, remember that every point of light is kin. You are not beneath them, you are among them. The distance between you and the nearest star is only a matter of scale. In truth, you have always been a part of the same creation. The galaxy will go on spinning long after we are gone, and perhaps long after even memory has faded. It will still carry the quiet echo of thought, because thought is made of it. The Milky Way dreamed for a while of itself through us, and that dream, once dreamed, never completely ends. So breathe. Let the idea settle. The arms of the galaxy curve around you like a cradle. The light of 10,000 suns has traveled millions of years just to brush your eyes tonight. And every photon that reaches you says the same thing. You belong here. The first layer of that structure is dust. To the human eye, it looks like darkness, great lanes that cut through the band of stars like rivers of ink. But in truth, those dark streaks are the galaxy's fertile soil. The grains are tiny, smaller than smoke, made of carbon, silicates, and ice. They drift between stars, gathering and dispersing in slow motion. Without them, new worlds could never form. Every planet, every moon, every living surface begins as a mote of dust suspended in this invisible sea. Between those grains lies gas, mostly hydrogen, the simplest of all atoms, and helium, its silent partner. The Milky Way is threaded with enormous clouds of this gas, some cold and quiet, some heated to millions of degrees. Where the gas is dense, gravity tightens its grip, and new stars are born. Where it's thin, it becomes the highway along which radiation and magnetic fields travel. Magnetism runs everywhere. The galaxy's magnetic field is faint, about 1,000,000 times weaker than a refrigerator magnet, but vast. It stretches from arm to arm, looping and twisting with the rotation of the disk. Charged particles spiral along those invisible lines, forming the cosmic rays that occasionally strike Earth's atmosphere. To us, they arrive as random bursts, but to the galaxy they are part of its heartbeat, a steady rhythm of energy pulsing through space. In some regions, that magnetic web gathers into filaments, long tendrils of plasma that rise from the disk like strings of light. Radio telescopes can trace them for thousands of light years. They shimmer, twist, and sometimes snap, releasing bursts of energy that ripple outward. Astronomers call them galactic chimneys. They carry the heat of newborn stars away from the plane and vent it into the halo, keeping the disk from burning itself apart. The Milky Way breathes through these chimneys. Hot gas rushes upward, cools, and falls back as a gentle rain of hydrogen. Each cycle lasts tens of millions of years. It's a kind of weather pattern on a galactic scale, a slow, steady respiration that keeps the galaxy alive. If we could see the Milky Way in radio waves, it would look almost alive. Great arcs and loops would surround the disk, like petals of light. Some are remnants of ancient supernovae, others are magnetic shells blown by clusters of massive stars. Together they form a halo of radio emission that hums quietly around the galaxy, a soft whisper you could tune into with the right kind of antenna. Infrared light reveals something else, the hidden warmth of dust and gas. In those wavelengths, the dark lanes of the visible Milky Way glow softly, showing where new stars are forming. Ultraviolet telescopes, on the other hand, highlight the opposite, the youngest, hottest stars blazing in blue fire. No single view tells the whole truth. Only by layering all these colors of light can we see the Milky Way as it really is, a living spectrum of creation and decay. And then there is gravity, the silent architect of it all. Every orbit, every cloud, every cluster is held in place by that one simple force. It sculpts the spiral arms, draws gas into stars, and holds the entire disk together as it spins. We can't see gravity, but we can feel its logic. The way stars move faster near the center, the way their speed refuses to drop off at the edge. That refusal is what first revealed dark matter. Something unseen must be adding mass. Something invisible must be keeping the galaxy whole. Dark matter surrounds the Milky Way like an immense halo. It doesn't shine, it doesn't collide, but it bends the path of light. We know it's there because of how galaxies behave, because of the way their rotation defies expectation. Perhaps it's made of unknown particles, perhaps of something stranger. Whatever it is, we live inside it, swimming through an invisible ocean that cradles every star we know. Closer to home, our own spiral arm is laced with nebulae, regions where the galaxy's hidden structure becomes visible. The Orion Nebula, glowing faintly even to the naked eye, is one of these. It's a cavern of dust and gas 400 light-years wide, lit from within by newborn suns. The light you see from it tonight began its journey when the first humans carved tools from stone, and still, new light keeps coming, wave after wave, carrying the news that the galaxy is still creating. Elsewhere, darker nebulae hide their work. The Horsehead Nebula in Orion's belt, the Pillars of Creation in the Eagle Nebula. Each is a place where gravity, magnetism, and time are sculpting new stars. They are nurseries and tombs at once. The same dust that blocks our view is the dust that one day will shine. Beyond the bright arms in the galactic halo lie threads of gas left from long ago collisions. Some stretch for tens of thousands of light years, mapping the paths of ancient galaxies the Milky Way has devoured. They are fossils in motion, each strand a memory of something that once was whole. Even in its quietest corners, the Milky Way hums with energy. Low-frequency radio waves ripple through space, relics of supernovae and cosmic rays. Gamma rays flash where matter meets antimatter. Neutrinos, ghost particles that barely interact with anything, stream through everything, including you, by the trillions every second. You are, at this moment, part of the galaxy's constant exchange of energy. And still, there is order in the chaos. The galaxy's rotation keeps the stars moving in graceful arcs. The spiral pattern stays steady even as individual stars come and go. It's a self-organizing harmony, a balance between gravity and motion. From a distance, it looks serene, but up close, it's a storm of matter and light. If you were to float far above the Milky Way and watch it spin, you'd see the arms glowing faintly blue where new stars burn, shading to gold where the older stars live. You'd see dust lanes curling like smoke, dark rivers winding through light. You'd see the central bulge flicker, the bar turning slowly, the halo stretching outward into emptiness. It would look almost fragile, a thin film of brilliance against a black sea. Yet that film contains everything we know, every star, every world, every breath. And somewhere in one of those arms, a small planet turns under a thin veil of air. On its surface, beings made of stardust build telescopes, ask questions, and whisper stories about where they came from. Their voices rise into the night like faint radio signals, merging with the galaxy's own murmur. You are one of those voices. You're listening to the hum of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way, in its own way, is listening back, reflecting your signal, folding your thought into its endless weave of energy and matter. For most of human history, the Milky Way was a mystery without an answer. It shimmered across the night like smoke, a pale band cutting the sky in two. Every culture gave it a name, a story, a meaning. The Greeks saw it as milk spilled from the breast of a goddess. The Chinese called it the Silver River. The Maya saw a ceiba tree, its roots in the underworld and its branches in the heavens. To early peoples everywhere, it was a path, a road for spirits, a bridge between worlds. And in a way, they were right. The Milky Way is a bridge between what we can see and what we can only imagine. It would take thousands of years before we could cross it with knowledge instead of myth. In 1610, Galileo Galilei turned his small telescope toward the band of light above. What had looked like a soft glow suddenly resolved into countless stars, more than anyone had ever dreamed existed. The sky was not made of fog, but of suns. Each point of light was another world. That moment, simple and quiet, was the beginning of our understanding of the galaxy. For the next 2 centuries, astronomers counted stars and mapped their brightness. They knew there was structure, that the sky was thicker with stars in one direction, thinner in another. But they couldn't tell where we stood within it. Some believed the Milky Way was the entire universe. Others guessed it was one island among many. They were both right in different ways. In the early 20th century, a Dutch astronomer named Jacobus Kapteyn tried to chart the shape of the Milky Way. He imagined it as a flattened disk of stars with the sun near the center, a reasonable idea, given what he could see. But dust fooled him. The dark lanes that cut across the sky absorbed starlight, hiding the galaxy's true size and leaving the illusion of a small, centered universe. Then came a quiet revolution. In the 1910s and 1920s, Henrietta Swan Leavitt, Harlow Shapley, and others used a new tool, the period of pulsating stars called Cepheid variables. These stars act like cosmic beacons. By comparing how bright they appear to how fast they pulse, you can calculate their distance. Shapley applied this method to globular clusters, those tight, ancient spheres of stars surrounding the Milky Way. What he found shocked everyone. The clusters formed a vast halo centered not on the sun, but far away in the direction of Sagittarius. The Milky Way was far larger than anyone had imagined, and we were not at its center. For the first time, humanity understood its address in the cosmos. The sun was a suburban star in a sprawling galaxy, orbiting a core tens of thousands of light years away. That realization changed everything. It humbled us, but it also expanded our wonder. The next breakthrough came from another kind of light, radio waves. After World War II, astronomers began scanning the sky with radio antennas. Unlike visible light, radio waves can pass through the dust that blocks our view of the galactic plane. In the 1950s, a team led by Jan Oort and others used the 21-centimeter hydrogen line, a natural radio signal emitted by neutral hydrogen atoms, to map the Milky Way's spiral arms. At last, the shape we had only guessed at came into focus, a grand barred spiral with curved arms wrapping gracefully around a bright center. We were living inside a pinwheel of stars. In the decades that followed, new kinds of eyes opened. Infrared telescopes revealed the warmth of dust and the glow of hidden star nurseries. X-ray and gamma-ray observatories showed us the violence of supernovae, black holes, and cosmic rays. Each wavelength added a new layer to the portrait. The Milky Way was no longer just a band of light, it was a living system with storms, currents, and secret depths. Then came space telescopes, instruments freed from Earth's atmosphere. The Hubble Space Telescope gave us our clearest pictures of distant galaxies, letting us compare them to our own. The COBE WMAP and Planck satellites mapped the faint background radiation left over from the Big Bang, showing where our galaxy sits in the grand structure of the cosmos. And missions like Gaia, launched by the European Space Agency, began measuring the exact positions and motions of over 1 billion stars. For the first time, we could watch the Milky Way moving, flexing, breathing in real time. With Gaia's data, astronomers traced rivers of stars across the sky, remnants of galaxies long ago absorbed. They mapped the ripples in the disk, the oscillations of stars rising and falling like waves. They could even see the subtle tilt of the sun's path bobbing gently up and down as it circles the center. Our galaxy, once an abstract glow, became a dynamic world of motion. And with each discovery, the myths found new meaning. The Silver River, the Ceiba tree, the milk of the goddess, these were not wrong. They were early attempts to describe what we now know, that the Milky Way connects everything. It is the path of energy through time, the bridge between birth and death, the river that carries every atom from one star to the next. Even now, there is more to learn. We have not seen the far side of our galaxy. Dust still hides it from us. But with radio telescopes spread across continents, we're beginning to peer through that veil. New arrays like the Square Kilometre Array, rising in the deserts of South Africa and Australia, will let us map the Milky Way in exquisite detail. They'll show us how gas flows between stars, how magnetic fields twist, how the spiral arms maintain their rhythm. Someday, future instruments will see even more clearly. They'll watch the orbits of stars near the central black hole with such precision that we can test the limits of Einstein's relativity. They'll detect the faint signals of planets orbiting distant suns, maybe even the spectral fingerprints of life. And when they do, our understanding of the Milky Way will grow again. Not smaller, but deeper, because that's what knowledge does. It doesn't erase mystery, it refines it. Each answer opens another door. The Milky Way isn't just something we observe, it's a question we keep asking, a mirror that shows us our own need to know. So tonight, as you listen, think of that need, the quiet spark that makes you look up. It's the same spark that moved Galileo to lift a telescope to his eye, that guided Shapley and Leavitt to measure the stars, that drives every astronomer who spends long nights listening to the hum of radio waves from the sky. It's curiosity, the oldest light we carry inside us, and in a galaxy built from fusion and gravity, that light is something rare. Let it drift with you now, the way the Milky Way drifts through space, soft, steady, endless. The galaxy is still turning, still learning about itself, and somehow, through you, it's awake. When you look at the Milky Way stretching across the sky, it feels endless, a vast ocean of light with no shore. But like every ocean, it has edges, and beyond those edges are other worlds, other galaxies drifting through the same dark sea. The Milky Way is not alone. It never was. Imagine the night sky is seen from far, far away, millions of light years beyond the spiral we call home. From that distance, the Milky Way would look like a glowing pinwheel suspended in blackness. Its arms would curl gently around a golden center, the faint shimmer of dust tracing its shape. And just beside it, another spiral would shine. Larger, brighter, its arms tighter wound. That is Andromeda, our nearest great neighbor. Together, the Milky Way and Andromeda form the heart of a small community called the Local Group. It isn't a crowd, just over 50 galaxies bound together by gravity, drifting through space as one cluster. Most are tiny, dwarf galaxies, faint and irregular, like scraps of starlight left over from creation. But they all move together, orbiting, merging, and sometimes tearing each other apart in slow cosmic tides. Among the Milky Way's closest companions are two ghostly smudges, visible from the southern hemisphere, the large and small Magellanic Clouds. They're dwarf galaxies, each containing billions of stars, trailing long ribbons of gas behind them. A feature astronomers call the Magellanic Stream. That stream stretches for hundreds of thousands of light years, wrapping around the Milky Way like a thin scarf of hydrogen. It's a record of gravity at work, the Milky Way slowly pulling its companions closer, stripping them bare, preparing to fold them into its own halo someday. The Magellanic Clouds are full of wonder. Within the large cloud lies the Tarantula Nebula, one of the most active star-forming regions in the entire Local Group. There, stars dozens of times heavier than the Sun blaze with blue-white light, sending shock waves through the gas around them. If our galaxy were that close, the tarantula would light up the sky brighter than the full moon. But from here, it's just a faint blur, proof that distance hides both beauty and violence in equal measure. Other satellites swarm the Milky Way as well. The Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, stretched into a long tidal stream that wraps around us. The Fornax dwarf, the Sculptor, and many more. Each one tells a story of capture, collision, or quiet surrender. Over billions of years, the Milky Way has been feeding on these smaller systems, growing by gentle cannibalism. Their stars are now part of our halo, their gas part of our next generation of suns. If you could step back even farther, beyond the local group itself, you'd see that it, too, is part of something larger. The local group lies near the edge of a much greater cluster called the Virgo supercluster, a collection of thousands of galaxies bound by the faint pull of gravity. And even that supercluster is only a small thread in an immense tapestry known as Laniakea, a name meaning immeasurable heaven. It stretches across 500 million light-years, a web of filaments and voids, where galaxies flow like rivers toward hidden gravitational basins. From this cosmic perspective, the Milky Way is one spark in a vast fire. We orbit the center of Laniakea, the way Earth orbits the Sun, slow, unseen, but constant. Gravity connects everything, from the smallest dust grain in our spiral arms to the distant clusters 500 million light-years away. Each galaxy's motion is part of a greater rhythm, a cosmic tide that moves through the universe like breath. The local group itself is not still. Andromeda drifts toward us, yes, but together we drift towards something even larger, the Great Attractor, a mysterious region of space whose gravity draws entire clusters toward it. We don't yet know exactly what lies there. Perhaps a massive concentration of dark matter, perhaps a hidden supercluster shrouded by dust and distance. But whatever it is, the Milky Way and all its neighbors are falling toward it, silently, patiently, over hundreds of millions of years. From Earth, all this is invisible. We see only the closest lights, the faint glow of Andromeda, the smudge of the Magellanic Clouds, the thin spray of stars that cross our sky. But every one of those lights is moving, everyone pulled by unseen gravity. The universe is not static, it flows, and our galaxy, small as it may seem, is part of that endless current. If you could listen to that current, if space could speak, you might hear a low, deep hum, not of sound, but of motion, a vibration made of everything moving together, galaxies orbiting invisible centers, stars circling stars, planets turning under them. That hum is gravity's voice, steady and eternal. It's the same voice that binds our solar system to the Milky Way to Andromeda, and all galaxies to the cosmic web. So when you look at the night sky, you're not looking out. You're looking through the fabric that connects everything. Every photon from every star in every galaxy is part of a single, slow conversation. You are hearing it now, in the silence between words. When you look up on a clear night and see the Milky Way arcing across the sky, what you're really seeing is a cross-section of home, a thin slice of the disk viewed from within. It looks like a river of light, but it's more like the inside of a wheel, our solar system riding one of its spokes as it turns through the dark. The Sun lives about 27,000 light-years from the galactic center, in a quiet lane of stars called the Orion Spur. It's not one of the great spiral arms, it's a minor one, a calm passage between the bustling Sagittarius arm and the broader Perseus arm. And that calm may be the reason we're here. In this quiet stretch, supernovae are rarer, radiation storms fewer. Life has had time to unfold slowly, patiently, without too much cosmic interference. Our system is moving fast, about 230 kilometers every second around the galactic core. Yet the journey is so vast that it takes roughly 225 million years to complete a single orbit. Astronomers call that one galactic year. Since the Earth formed 4.6 billion years ago, the Sun has circled the Milky Way about 20 times. When the first dinosaurs roamed the Earth, we were in a completely different part of the galaxy. When their reign ended, we had only just begun another lap. The Sun doesn't follow a flat path. As it orbits, it rises and falls gently through the galactic plane like a ship on a long, slow wave. Every 30 million years or so, it drifts above the midline and then sinks below it again, pulled by the uneven gravity of the disk. Some researchers have wondered whether that rhythm affects life on Earth, perhaps influencing long cycles of climate or extinction. But no clear pattern has yet been found. Still, it's a haunting thought that the planet beneath your feet might breathe in time with the galaxy itself. Our spiral arm is a neighborhood with character. To one side lies the Rosette Nebula, a vast bloom of hydrogen lit by newborn stars. To another, the Orion Nebula, our closest stellar nursery, glowing pink and blue where new suns ignite. The Pleiades cluster sparkles nearby, a handful of hot young stars still shrouded in their birth dust. The Crab Nebula, a remnant of a supernova recorded by Chinese astronomers nearly 1,000 years ago, expands quietly, not far from us in the constellation Taurus. Every direction holds reminders that creation and destruction are ongoing, that even in this tranquil suburb, the universe is always at work. As our system glides through the spiral arm, it carries its own retinue of companions. The planets, the comets, the Kuiper Belt, the Oort cloud, each bound to the sun, but all of them riding with it around the galactic core. That means everything you can see from your window, from the moon to the furthest icebound world, is part of a much larger orbit. We are all passengers on a moving world, traveling together through space so vast that motion itself feels like stillness. If you could watch the Milky Way from above, you'd see our orbit as a small, bright ring, one of hundreds of billions of similar paths tracing the disk. You'd see clusters of stars moving together, like flocks of birds shaped by invisible air. You'd see patterns repeating at every scale, circles within circles, gravity holding everything in an elegant tension between falling and flying away. Within our local neighborhood, the stars nearest to the sun form a loose association sometimes called the local bubble, a region of low-density gas carved out by ancient supernovae millions of years ago. We live inside that bubble, a cavity about 1,000 light-years wide filled with warm, thin plasma. Its walls are lined with clouds of denser gas, and beyond those clouds, new stars are forming. It's as if we dwell inside the hollow left by long-ago stellar explosions, the quiet after the storm. Every few million years, our system passes near one of the galaxy's spiral arms, through regions more crowded with stars and gas. Those crossings may stir up comets in the distant Oort cloud, sending a few inward toward the inner planets. It's one of the ways the galaxy reminds its children that they are connected, that even the smallest icy wanderer at the edge of the solar system still feels the pull of the Milky Way. The light of the stars that surround us tells a shared story. Some are older than the sun, some younger, but all belong to the same rotation, the same vast disk. When you look up and recognize familiar constellations, Orion, Cassiopeia, Scorpius, you are seeing different ages of the galaxy layered together, stars that were born in different clouds at different times, but now happen to share this fleeting alignment in our sky. Over millions of years, those shapes will change. The constellations will dissolve and reform. The heavens are not fixed, they are fluid, alive, as everything drifts slowly onward. Even our nearest star, Proxima Centauri, moves with us. It and its companions in the Alpha Centauri system are part of the same galactic dance. From their perspective, the sun would be just another spark among many, following its own silent curve around the core. No matter where you stand in the galaxy, you are always in motion. Sometimes when scientists trace the sun's orbit backward in time, they imagine where we might have been when certain events on Earth occurred. When the first multicellular life appeared, the sun was on the far side of the Milky Way. When the dinosaurs ruled, we were crossing a spiral arm thick with gas. When humans first looked up at the sky and wondered, we had already traveled halfway around the galaxy since the day our world formed. Every epoch, every chapter of life has unfolded under a different arrangement of stars. And through it all, the Milky Way keeps turning. It rotates like a great wheel, but one whose rim lags slightly behind its hub. The pattern of its spiral arms moves at a different pace than the stars themselves, like a slow ripple of density passing through the disk. We drift into those arms, then drift out again, never noticing the transition. From Earth, it all feels eternal. But eternity here is just the length of a single galactic breath. If you lie outside on a dark, moonless night and let your eyes adjust, you can see this home for what it is. The faint band of light overhead isn't just a decoration in the sky. It's the cross-section of a vast, living system, one we are inside of and moving through. Every photon that reaches you has traveled for thousands of years across space, through dust and silence, to arrive in your eye for an instant before vanishing. That light is history. It's a record of where we've been and a promise of where we're going. And tonight, as the Earth turns and the sun continues its long orbit, you are part of that motion, one small warmth in a spiral of stars, traveling together through the infinite dark. The Milky Way feels eternal, but it isn't. Every spiral, every arm, every star is part of a long story of transformation. Galaxies are born, they grow, they collide, they fade. And ours too has a future written in gravity and time. Far above the horizon, beyond the thin air of our world, hangs a faint oval of light, the Andromeda Galaxy. It lies more than 2 million light-years away, but it is moving toward us. Its motion is gentle on our scale, about 110 kilometers per second, but constant. With every passing second, the distance shrinks. In roughly 4.5 billion years, the Milky Way and Andromeda will meet. It will not be a crash in the way we imagine. Galaxies are mostly empty space. Stars are so far apart that almost none will collide, but their gravity will intertwine, and the two spirals will stretch and twist into long tidal tails. Their black holes will circle each other like predators in slow motion, drawing closer over millions of years until they merge into one. The result will be a new galaxy, vast and luminous, perhaps an elliptical shape rather than a spiral. Astronomers have already given it a name, Milkomeda. To anyone alive within it, if life still exists, it will be a breathtaking sight. The night sky will glow with arcs of stars, streams of light stretching from horizon to horizon. For a few 100 million years, the sky will shimmer with motion. Eventually, the chaos will settle. The two galaxies will become one, and the great spiral pattern that has defined our home for billions of years will fade into a round, glowing sea of stars. The sun, by then, will be nearing the end of its life. It will swell into a red giant, shedding its outer layers, illuminating the merging galaxies with its final light. The Earth will be long uninhabitable, its oceans boiled away. But the atoms that once made us, carbon, oxygen, iron, will be carried into space, joining the raw material for future stars. Perhaps they will drift into the clouds of Milkomeda, waiting to be reborn. Even before that distant merger, our galaxy will keep changing. The Milky Way is still growing now, pulling in small dwarf galaxies from its outskirts. Each time one falls in, its stars are stretched into long stellar streams, faint ribbons that wrap around the disk. These streams are the fingerprints of our galaxy's history, scars that record every meal it has eaten. Astronomers map them to understand how the Milky Way came to be, not from a single act of creation, but from billions of years of quiet collisions. Over time, more dwarfs will join us. The Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, already half devoured, will dissolve completely. The Magellanic clouds will drift closer, their gas drawn into our spiral arms, fueling new bursts of star formation. Even as the overall pace of creation slows, pockets of brilliance will continue to flare across the disk. Stars will keep forming, shining, dying, and returning their matter to the cycle. But the long arc of the galaxy's life bends toward stillness. Star formation is slowing. The reservoirs of cold gas that feed it are running low. As the galaxy ages, fewer new stars will be born, and the old ones will gradually burn out. Billions of years from now, the Milky Way will glow softer, its spiral arms dimmer, its color turning redder as its hottest stars vanish. It will not die suddenly, it will simply fade gracefully into quiet. Yet even in that quiet, the galaxy will endure. Brown dwarfs, white dwarfs, and neutron stars will linger, faint embers glowing for trillions of years. Black holes will remain, dark anchors in the fading light. Their slow dance will continue long after everything bright has burned away. And perhaps, somewhere in that far future, a new star will still form, a small, cool flame in the darkness, carrying forward the last warmth of a galaxy long past its prime. In that distant time when the Milky Way and Andromeda have become one, when most of the stars we know have died, the universe itself will look different. The great expansion of space will have carried other galaxies beyond the limits of visibility. The night sky of the future will contain only the stars of our merged galaxy. Drifting in isolation, the cosmos will seem smaller, quieter, but not empty. Within that silence, new generations of observers, if any still exist, will look up and see only their local stars. They may never know that once, long ago, the universe was full of light. And yet, even that will not be the end. Stars will continue to form from whatever gas remains. Black holes will merge, releasing gravitational waves that ripple across the void. Matter will cycle through countless transformations. The story of the Milky Way will not end. It will simply become harder to read. When we imagine such futures, it can make the present feel small. But smallness, here, is not insignificance. You are part of a story that stretches from the first hydrogen atom to the last red ember. The same laws that will shape the future merger of galaxies are the ones that shaped you. The iron in your blood will one day drift in interstellar space again, ready to build something new. The atoms of your breath will one day feed another star's light. So when you look up and see the Milky Way tonight, you are seeing a living thing in midlife. Still beautiful, still changing, still full of promise. You are looking at an unbroken chain of transformation that connects past, present, and future. And even when the galaxy has changed beyond recognition, that chain will remain unbroken, humming softly in the dark. The Milky Way is vast beyond imagining, but somehow it has given rise to us, small creatures who can notice, question, and dream about it. Out of its clouds of gas and dust, stars were born. From those stars, heavy elements were forged. From those elements, planets, oceans, and living minds emerged. We are not outside the galaxy looking in. We are one of its expressions, a way for it to see itself. When we say the Milky Way, We often mean the glowing river of light we see on clear nights. But in truth, that faint band is only a sliver of what surrounds us. It's like looking through the trunk of a great tree from the inside. You can't see the whole shape, but you can feel its living structure in every direction. And within that structure, within that long history of stars being born and dying, we have our roots. Every atom of carbon in your body was built inside a star. Every drop of iron in your blood was once at the heart of a supernova. Every molecule of oxygen you breathe was exhaled by a giant red star long before the sun existed. To say we are made of stardust is not poetry, it's chemistry. The galaxy built us atom by atom, through heat, gravity, and time. And now, through consciousness, the galaxy has found a way to wonder about itself. Think about that for a moment. In all the billions of years of the Milky Way's history, the vast machinery of stars and gravity has produced something that can ask questions. Your thoughts, your memories, the emotions you feel as you listen now. They are patterns of energy sustained by atoms that were once parts of ancient suns. You are the galaxy thinking. You are the Milky Way's way of dreaming. When our ancestors looked up at the sky and traced shapes among the stars, they were doing what the galaxy had programmed them to do, searching for connection. The constellations they drew, the hunter, the swan, the scorpion, were ways to see meaning in the chaos. They were stories that tethered our tiny human lives to the vastness above. We have always needed those stories. Even now, with telescopes and equations, we still use myth. Only now our myths wear the clothes of science. They speak of nebulae and quasars, dark matter and dark energy. But beneath the numbers, the same longing glows, to belong in a universe that feels too big to hold us. And yet the truth is gentle. You already belong. You don't have to reach the stars to be part of them. You don't have to understand every equation to be worthy of the cosmos. You are already woven into the Milky Way, part of its fabric, shaped by its gravity and chemistry. Every breath you take is a small act of cosmic participation. Our species has just begun to explore. In cosmic terms, we are newborns. We've only been aware of the Milky Way's true nature for a few centuries. The first photograph of our galaxy as a whole doesn't exist. We can't step outside to take one. We reconstruct it piece by piece from the inside out with radio telescopes, satellites, and patient math. Each discovery brings us closer to seeing the home we already live in. We've sent probes to the edge of our solar system, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, each carrying a small golden record, a message to whatever or whoever might someday find it. Those spacecraft are now more than 20 billion kilometers away, still drifting outward through the thin halo of our galaxy. They are our first whispers into the Milky Way's darkness. Maybe they will drift for millions of years long after we are gone, carrying the sounds of our oceans and the greetings of our languages through the quiet void. Perhaps one day, another civilization, born from another star, will find them and know that we once looked up too. The Milky Way has been around for over 13 billion years. Civilizations like ours might rise and fall within it countless times. Somewhere perhaps another species has asked the same questions, stared at the same band of light, and felt the same awe. Maybe their scientists have mapped the same spiral arms, or their poets have written about the same sense of endlessness. We don't yet know if we have neighbors in this galaxy, but the odds suggest that we do, that life has emerged elsewhere, quietly, patiently, under other suns. Even if we never meet them, the thought alone connects us. It reminds us that the Milky Way isn't just a collection of stars. It's a potential garden of minds. Every world is a seed. Every star is a chance for curiosity to bloom again. When you stand outside at night and look up, it's easy to feel small. But smallness isn't something to fear. It's a perspective, a reminder that the universe is vast enough to hold all our questions and still have room for wonder. The Milky Way doesn't ask us to conquer it or explain it completely. It only asks that we notice it, that we pause, that we listen. Because in that quiet, we can hear something like a heartbeat, the rhythm of stars forming and dying, of light traveling across eternity to meet your eyes. And when you notice it, when you let that awareness sink in, something changes. The galaxy stops being distant. It becomes intimate, familiar, alive. You realize that you've been part of it all along. From the first atoms forged in ancient fire to the thoughts moving through your mind right now. We may never travel beyond our spiral arm. Our lives may begin and end on a small blue planet circling an ordinary star, but that doesn't limit us. In imagination, we already roam the Milky Way. Every telescope, every equation, every dream of exploration extends our reach a little farther. And maybe that's what the galaxy wanted all along, to know itself through eyes like ours. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself not as separate from the Milky Way, but as part of its flow. A flicker of awareness traveling with it through space, a thought made of starlight, a momentary glow in a story that began long before you and will continue long after. The Milky Way isn't just out there, it's within you, and it's still unfolding. If you step outside in the dark, far from cities and noise, you can feel it. The hush between stars, the slow pulse of the world beneath your feet, spinning silently through space. Look up, and there it is again. The Milky Way, stretching from one horizon to the other, a ribbon of faint silver light. It looks still, but everything within it is moving. You are too. The Earth spins. The sun orbits the center of the galaxy. The Milky Way itself drifts through the cosmic web, and yet in this moment, all that motion feels like peace. The stars seem to rest in their places, like reflections in a lake that never ripples. It's a beautiful illusion, the kind that lets you breathe deeper, the kind that invites wonder. We often think of space as a cold emptiness, but it isn't. The galaxy hums with life, not the biological kind we know, but with energy, with light, with time itself. Every photon you see was born from some act of creation, fusion in a star's heart, the collapse of a dying sun, the swirling birth of new worlds. Each glimmer that reaches you has traveled for thousands of years, across clouds of dust and magnetic storms, to arrive in your eye for just a heartbeat before moving on. That light is ancient, but it's never old. It carries memory, warmth, continuity. It carries home. The Milky Way is not a single thing. It's a process, a river of motion that never stops flowing. From the smallest molecule drifting through a nebula to the most massive black hole at the galactic center, everything contributes to that flow. The galaxy is not static, not frozen. It breathes, it evolves, it transforms. It is, in every sense, alive. And because you are made from its materials, you are alive with it. Every heartbeat you feel is synchronized with the spin of the Earth, with the orbit of the Sun, with the slow rotation of the galaxy. You are not separate from the Milky Way. You are the Milky Way, briefly aware of itself. You are its thought, its curiosity, its moment of recognition. You are stardust that learned to listen. If you could zoom out far beyond our galaxy, you would see countless others. Spirals, ellipticals, irregulars, each one glowing softly in the dark. They form filaments that stretch across the universe like threads in a great cosmic tapestry. And somewhere in that web, the Milky Way drifts quietly, its arms spinning, its stars burning. To the universe, it's just one spark among trillions. But to us, it's everything. It's the cradle, of all our stories, our memories, our dreams. It's where love and thought and curiosity were born. Think about that. Out of dust, out of chaos, out of physics and time, the Milky Way created a species capable of naming itself, capable of love, of laughter, of art, capable of looking back at the stars and feeling awe. It's easy to underestimate what that means, but when you look at the night sky and feel that soft pull, that ache of beauty, that strange mix of humility and joy, that's the galaxy speaking to itself through you. In all likelihood, humanity will change. We will spread to other worlds, or we will vanish. Civilizations will rise and fall, and the Milky Way will go on turning, indifferent and yet intimately connected to everything that happens within it. Maybe millions of years from now, some other species will look up at the same river of light and wonder who came before them. Maybe they'll find traces of us, the faint echo of our signals, a probe drifting between the stars, or a line of poetry etched into the side of an ancient satellite. Maybe they'll understand that they too are children of this galaxy, and they will feel the same peace that you feel now. Even if no one does, it doesn't matter. The act of wonder itself is enough. It's the universe becoming conscious, even for a moment. It's the cosmos folding in on itself to admire its own reflection. That moment, this moment, is eternity made visible. So as this story slows, let the rest of the Milky Way fade gently into the background. The stars are still there, quietly burning, each one a sun in its own world. The black holes are still spinning, the nebulae still glowing, the dust still drifting. The galaxy continues to hum its song, a melody of gravity and light that will last for billions of years. And in that endlessness, you are safe. You are small, yes, but you are part of something immeasurably vast, unimaginably beautiful, and deeply alive. Close your eyes and picture it. A spiral of stars turning slowly in the dark, its arms wide and soft as waves, its heart shining with quiet fire. Now picture yourself inside it, a single breath of consciousness carried along that current. No need to understand, no need to reach, just drift. Because the Milky Way is not just your home in space, it's your home in time, in matter, in being. It's the long thread that connects everything that ever was to everything that ever will be. And like the galaxy, you don't need an edge or an ending to be complete. You already are. So rest now, traveler. Let the stars hold you. The galaxy will keep turning without you needing to do a thing. Its arms will keep sweeping through the dark, its stars will keep burning, and its light will keep flowing across the ages. You are part of that flow. You always have been. And as you fall asleep, know that somewhere, countless suns are rising, countless worlds are turning, and countless forms of life are looking up, seeing the same river of stars, feeling the same quiet wonder. The Milky Way never stops, and neither does wonder. It simply changes form, from light to thought, from star to soul, from galaxy to dream. Good night, traveler. You're home now, floating softly in the arms of the galaxy.